You are looking live at head coach Eric Williams at Maynard Jackson High School in the weight room with the Coach Eric Williams Jaguar Nation Show. I'm your host, Jeff Breedlove, coming to you after a great homecoming victory, 45-7 for Jaguars over the Grady Gray Knights in the Mercedes Benz Dome. Coach, big announcement from you this week about the playoffs.
Yes, after the win on Saturday, we are officially in the playoffs. Right now, we just have to wait on the proper seeding. Right now, we are the number 2 seed, so we're definitely in the playoffs. Big accomplishment for our program. It will make the 3rd year out of the last 4 years that we have been in the playoffs.
Coach, that's a big deal. You came out at the beginning of the season with the goal of making the playoffs. You've set a new standard here this year, and the players have responded very well.
Yes, they have, and it was like back to excellence. That's what our goal was at the beginning of the season, and we just wanted to make sure that we kept everyone up on their commitment level to make sure that we got back to the playoffs. And this is actually our first time making the playoff in a higher classification. The times we made the playoff prior to this year was in 3A, so we moved up 2 classifications in 5A. So I guess we're here now in 5A making the playoffs, doing big things.
Now let's spend a moment on that, Coach, because that is a huge deal that Jaguar Nation needs to appreciate. I mean, only our 2nd year in Region 5A, and we're making the playoffs. Last year was a tough year, but this year we're in the playoffs. It shows that good work by the coaching staff, hard work by the players has paid off.
Yes, and that's being consistent and persistent. That's what it's all about. We knew we would have a step back because we had lost a lot of talent to graduation the year prior to this year, and it was just a regrouping year. We were young, and we're still kind of young this year, but we have a good mixture of young players and seniors, and together that makes a very talented team for us over here at Maynard Jackson.
Well, this past Saturday was a pretty historic game for Jaguar Nation. We were privileged to be the 1 o'clock game, which means that we were the first high school game in the history of the Mercedes Benz Dome. I don't care who you are, Jaguar Nation, you got to say that's pretty special. What did you think about that, Coach?
I mean, like I told the kids, it was a great opportunity for us to make history. The first high school game ever to be played in the Mercedes Benz Dome. Everything we did at the Mercedes Benz Stadium was a first. And, we were fortunate enough to score the first touchdown.
Well, we did, and we did a lot of first. And let's talk a little bit about the pregame. Leaving the school, we had a police escort. I know the players were excited to go in the NFL and college players' entrance on the back side of the dome. Everything was just a surreal, almost experience.
Yes, it was. And the kids, and just to see that glow in their eyes, to walk into that locker room and, to see all of the amenities and the different things that afforded to the professional players just absolutely blew their mind. And for them to go out and walk on that stadium and look around and see all the fascinating attractions there, it was just something you just had to sit back and soak in and just watch the kids enjoy themselves for about 30 minutes.
Well, it really was an awesome thing to witness. And I'll tell you, for me, the memory that I don't think I'll forget anytime soon is at one point the video operators turned on the big Halo TV thing in the middle, and all the players, frankly on both teams, noticed that, and they got all their cameras out, and they did all their fun stuff that you would expect, because high school football should be a fun game.
That's right.
And I think for that to happen before the game, I think it helped get a lot of jitters out. And I just think that was so awesome for those guys to see themselves up on that massively large TV screen.
Yes, they call it the Halo board, and for them to see themselves up there was just outstanding. I mean, you can't put a price tag on something. That's something that they would never be able to take away from both teams, and these kids will remember that for the rest of their lives.
They really will. It was an amazing thing. The field was itself just first-class field. The whole thing had a very special feel about it. The cheerleaders were there, the ROTC from the school was there, the band was there, the dance team was there. A lot of alumni came home this year for homecoming. I mean, we had quite the crowd.
Yes, we did. We had an excellent crowd. And while we're on that, I would like to give a big shout out to Mr. Jasper Jewell and his colleagues out there at the Central Office of Athletics for putting on an outstanding Saturday afternoon. for the students of Atlanta Public Schools.
He did. Dr. Karstofian did. Of course,
Yes.
all of our staff here, Athletic Director Curry and our principal, everybody just took care of the team, and I know they all worked hard behind the scenes to make that day happen.
You're exactly correct with that.
Well, let's get right to the football part of it. We were strong on all three aspects of the game. Let's start with offense. Let me tell you, we had 4 offensive touchdowns. Stanley Ryans, number 28, came rushing in for a touchdown. It was just an incredible run, Coach.
Yeah, Stanley got the show started. You know, we had a turnover. Hassan intercepted a pass. We got the ball, and on the second play of the game, Stan popped off a good run for us.
And of course, Marquise Cozy, number 1, had 2 touchdowns.
Yes, Marquise Cozy is a touchdown machine. You know, we put him out there. He's a difficult matchup for anybody. He plays against every Friday afternoon or Friday night, and he just go out there and make plays for us when we need them.
And those were receiving touchdowns too. Great catches. Rashad Jordan, number 5, also had a receiving touchdown, Coach.
Yes, Rashad Jordan's outstanding on both sides of the ball as well. Another long touchdown pass for him. He's dynamic in the passing game.
And last but not least on the offensive touchdowns was Antron Davis, number 11, with just a great touchdown on his part too. For the second consecutive week, Antron has really been stepping up for us on the opposite side of Marquise, because a lot of times teams like to roll their coverage to Marquise because he's our stud, and that makes a lot of opportunities for Antron, and now he's really stepping up, and we're very proud of him for accepting that responsibility to make them balance more up on their coverage. You know, it shows the strength of a team and the strength of depth when one superstar starts to get double covered and another player just takes that opportunity, steps up, and starts producing great yardage and great points. That's right. You know, and what I strive to do here, our kids are very talented. Sometimes it's just a self-esteem issue, and we want them to really believe in themselves and be confident in what their capabilities are, and let them just go out there and show the city what they can do. Well, I think we're starting to get some attention, Coach. I really do. I want to thank our friends at Fox 5, High Five Sports for coming out this past week to the school and some great coverage they did for us on social media post-visit. We are starting to turn some heads, I think. Yeah, that's great. And a big shout out to Fox 5, Blaine and the rest of the crew, Mr. Rodriguez, and all of the guys for just giving us in Atlanta Public Schools, first and foremost, the exposure that we sorely need. You're absolutely right. We don't want to leave offense without talking about, our captain, our quarterback, number 2, Roderick Hammonds. Had to be overwhelming for that young man to be the quarterback, homecoming, Mercedes Benz Dome, but he went out there and led with determination, poise, grace, and some energy. That's absolutely correct. We go as Roderick go. Roderick is our leader, and right now, I think he's well over 1,000 yards passing, right at about 1,300 to 1,400 yards, high number of touchdowns. We're just really glad that he's our leader. Well, I always like to watch the offensive line, and I was watching those guys, and I know they were probably very excited, just as the rest of the team was. And they're the ones that, again, made some good blocks this week to let these running backs and receivers and our quarterback do their thing on offense. And I want to give a shout out to the offensive line because they were in the trenches hard. That's right. You always have to give a shout out to those offensive linemen. We ride them and we ridicule them a lot more than we do any other kids at any other position. But they are the heart and soul. Well, I know we'll talk about Jack Breedlove in a little bit, but let me tell you, he came home that day talking about how awesome the offensive line was holding when we were in the kicking situations. Those guys really rose to the occasion. Yes, they did. They really did. Well, let's turn to defense. I want to start with the Flash, number 4, Hassan Hall, who scored on defense. Tell us about that, Coach. Well, Flash, Antardis Ballard made a great tackle on number 4 from Grady, and Flash scooped the ball up and returned it for about a 12-yard touchdown run. And not only that, Flash had 2 interceptions on today, so he had a dynamic game. I was watching Huddle over the weekend and looking at some of Flash's plays. He had some good hits too. Oh yes, he's a big-time hitter, and now more so than offense, I think he kind of favors defense a little bit more. And that's going to be bad news for people on the collegiate level, because with that speed and that size, Flash coming downhill, he's very physical. I'm going to tell you, there were some posts on social media, on Twitter, about that very fact, that he's stepping up on defense. And I think these recruiters and these scouts, and I was told by a reliable source, that there were quite a number of scouts up in one of the booths at this game watching a lot of players I know.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, I think they saw that defensive performance by the Flash.
I think they did too, and he's, like I said, he's an outstanding athlete.
Well, let's get to the interception machine that occurred Saturday in the Georgia Dome. By my count, Coach, we had at least 4 interceptions. Let's start with Tony Hines, number 8, making a big interception.
Yes, Tony made a big interception for us right before the half. You know, they tried to throw a desperation pass up, and Tony jumped up and intercepted it.
And of course, Flash, I think he picked off, like you said a minute ago, 2 of them.
Yes, he had two great picks.
And then Tanelius Denson, number 21, had a pick.
Yes, our sophomore sensation. Tanelius had another interception, which takes his total up to, like, I think 5. And he was out there playing on a sore ankle, but he always gives 100%.
And Rashad Jordan, now he tried to up the game and raise the bar. As I recall, he had both a pick and a fumble.
He had a pick that he returned out of the end zone for about 30, 40 yards, and then he really gave the crowd a big roar when he picked that ball off, picked up the fumble in the end zone and ran it back 80 yards.
I'm going to tell you, I think the entire sideline did our best to keep up with him as he was going 80 yards. I don't think any of us kept up with him.
That's right. The only person that could stop Rashad on that particular play was Rashad. He got a little winded, and the little guy from Grady caught him with him. But, you know, he did a great job of returning that ball.
I'm going to tell you what, we could hear the Jaguar Nation roaring as we went down the sideline. That was a great
yes,
play.
that was very fulfilling and overwhelming to hear that crowd roar the way they were roaring.
Before we leave defense, just want to comment, you know, I think that we can see the hits being more with more authority, the confidence building on the defense.
Yes, Coach Johnson is doing an outstanding job. I mean, he's so valuable to me as far as what he's bringing on the defensive side of the ball. The kids are really rallying around him, and they believe in the scheme that we are putting out there every Friday. And now they're just growing into his defense and really showing their talents and really being a very stingy defense.
Well, we have just a couple of minutes left with Coach this week on the Coach Eric Williams Jaguar Nation show. Let's talk a little bit about special teams. Marquise Cozy put on a punting show for us.
Marquise Cozy does a great job every week. He's an outstanding athlete. You know, he's punting the ball well for us.
He really did. And Jack Breedlove came in, put 9 points on the board, all the extra points, and a field goal from 36 yards out, and put all the regular kickoffs inside the 5-yard line.
Jack had a very outstanding game. He was 100% effective, made all of his field goals and all of his extra points. I mean, and he's solid. And some of you all may not know that Jack was actually kicking on a professional goalpost. You know, they could not find the goalpost that we play in with regulation for high school. So even though the crossbar may have been on a collegiate level, the uprights were on a professional level.
Yeah, Jack learned about that right before the game, and I don't think it bothered him at all. And I think, you know, I hope the recruiters out there watching know that he just went out there and put those right through the upright.
Just went out there and put it through the upright. And what was so fulfilling for when we went out there to kick that field goal, I heard someone in the bleachers say, "That's automatic," and that's what we want to call it now, automatic Jack. Automatic
Jack. Well, it was a complete, total team effort all the way around. You know, we always talk about Jack, but, you know, Ethan, who's the snapper, and Eric, who's the holder, and the offensive line, that whole special teams unit is really gelling well.
That's right, and the 3 guys that have to work together the most to really put it off are Ethan, Eric Jones, and Jack. They really work hard every day on being consistent and being automatic in that kicking game.
Well, as we wrap it up, Coach, let's look ahead real quick to next week. We play on Friday, October 27th at 7:30. We play the Decatur Bulldogs. It's an away region game right in downtown Decatur at Decatur High School. It's not far away at all, Coach. We need Jaguar Nation to show up.
We need Jaguar Nation to show up and show out, because Decatur, right now, they're the number 4 seed. And, you know, they're trying to solidify that position. So they're going to come out and give us their very best effort, and we know that. And that's going to make sure that we keep our guys on their toes and make us stay humble and hungry to go out there and do what Jaguar Nation is getting used to us doing.
We want to thank Coach Eric Williams this week with the Coach Eric Williams Jaguar Nation show. Coach, we are playoff bound next Friday, October 27th, 7:30 at Decatur High School. What do you say, Coach?
We need all of you all to come out, but MJJ all day.